What is going on, you beautiful people, and welcome back to the channel. Today I kind of wanted to do something a little different. I wanted to go over 10 games that kind of changed my brain chemistry. And what I mean by that is I want to show you games that shaped me, who I am as a person, got me into the love of video games, and I feel like we're just such a big part of my life that they deserve their video. Now, there's probably way more than 10 games that have done this for me, but these 10 games really stick out to me, and each of these games have a story, something to do with them that really just kind of defined me or just were a big part of my life at that time. Now, none of these are in any particular order except the very last one. The very last one is probably the most important game to me. So, without further ado, let's begin. So, I'm not too sure what happened here. I don't remember. I think I remember what happened. This is my original copy of this game, by the way. I think the cover art and manual got damaged because I was looking at them and I just left them out and I spilled pop on them. And I was little at the time, so I just threw them away because it's video games. Who cares? But the very first game I want to show off is my copy of Kingdom Hearts. So, this game helped me in a really dark time. I was... You're going to hear that a lot too, actually, sadly. I was kind of going through a phase of my life where I didn't know who I was. I was really little and I was being bullied. And I remember just kind of having one friend I would call on the phone and we would just talk. And it just seemed like you would have one good day and then kind of 3 bad days that were right next to it. And I just couldn't get up. And it was really starting to affect me, and this game, I ended up getting it. Someone recommended it to me. I think it was my cousin who recommended it to me, and I ended up picking up. And me and my friend would call each other and play this game, and just in those moments of playing this game, it kind of took me away from like what was going on in my personal life with school. And now, do keep in mind, I was in middle school. So my school life, my grades were failing, and like I said, I was being bullied, and it was just real hard to focus on everything. But when I would play this game, it was like I was just in a completely different world, and it really just grabbed me. And I credit this game to a lot of just my love for the RPG genre, my love for Final Fantasy, and my love for Disney. I mean, without this game, I probably wouldn't even be that big into RPGs, to honest. I hate to say that, but this game was just that important to me. The characters from Sora and Donald and Goofy, just the way their bond forms. And no, don't get me wrong, following the story, I probably to this day couldn't tell you what's going on, and I'd be shocked that there's probably like, you probably count how many people know actually what's going on with this game story-wise. But it just helped me through that time period, and it really just... I hate to say it, but it kind of kept me motivated for the next day. Like, I knew after I got home from school, I was going to be able to just hop on this game and just let everything, there was going to be nothing wrong. Everything was going to be okay. And it made, I remember when I finished playing the game, I was upset that it was over. And then I had to go back and try to complete everything. I got all the keyblades, I got all the shields, all the wands, all the treasure chests. I went back and tried to do everything that was possible just so that like glimmer of hope that the game was not going to end was still there. And I credit this game as being one of my favorite games of all time. So moving on from that one. So this one's actually, I don't have the black label for this one, so it's not in my collection, but this is my original copy as well, and I will never get rid of it. This is a big game for me, but it's called Fighting Force for the original PlayStation. This was such a big game for me because this was kind of my first experience into the beat-em-up genre. And what made this game so special to me was the fact that me and my mom would play it. And I remember, I can't even tell you how many hours we would spend just going through the stages. And I was real little. I was probably, I'm going to say 5, 6 around the time, so I sucked at it. And she would never get mad at me for dying, never yelled at me, never... She encouraged me more than anything. I would fail, and she's like, well, don't give up. Keep going. You can do this. And it might take me 3, 4 times, but eventually I would beat the boss, and it just, that joy I would get, I would freak out because I was so excited that after all the hard work of just getting destroyed, finally came back, and like I was able to do it. And it was like the building up she would do for me. It's something I've never forgotten, just like how important that was. Looking back at it now, back to then, it was just my mom hyping me up. But now I feel like that was really a big development with my confidence. And I remember when I found out there was different paths you could take, and just like we would beat the boss and we went this way, now we could replay the game and go completely left. And I just freaking, oh man, I can't even remember just how much fun it was just setting up, playing with her. She would make us something to eat, get us some drinks, and we would literally spend hours and hours just going through the different stages and just playing it. And she always played, I can't remember the characters' names. It's been so long since I've actually played the game. I need to go back and play. I think the character I played was Hawks, which is this gentleman right here. And then my mom always played as her. And I cannot remember their names for the life of me. I think the big guy's name is Smasher. And I remember playing as him a little bit, but I sucked as him, so I always played with Hawks. And I could be completely wrong. That might not be his name. And if it isn't, I'm sorry. But I haven't played this game and a good while. And what's funny about it, this disc for the greatest, I don't know if the black label is, but this is actually how I got into the Gex series, because they had a demo for a few games. So Gex 3 deep cover geckos on there, and that's where I was able to play Gex for the most part until I actually found a copy of it and bought it. And I remember playing the heck out of that and just fighting Santa Claus and absolutely loving every moment of it. But yeah, this game was kind of just like a really important game to me because of just how much my mom was patient, and she just kept motivating me not to give up, just kept pushing it. And now I feel like that plays a big part in my life, because once I set my mind to something, I do it. It doesn't matter what it is, it gets done. That's just how it is. And I credit that game and those memories for that. So on to the next one we have. This one is the reason I'm in love with this gaming company. This is my favorite gaming company, is Insomniac Games. I love almost every single thing they've put out. And the reason why I say almost everything, I have not dived big into the Resistance series, and I have not played a lot of their older stuff. So I am missing a few things, but by far, Insomniac is my favorite game. And this is what started it all. Ratchet and Clank. I absolutely love the Ratchet and Clank series. If you have not played these, you are missing out on so much. These are great 3D action-adventure platformers, and they're just so solid. They're the reason, partially one of the reasons I love Collectathon so much, where you have to collect all these gold bolts, you get all these weapons, the story was phenomenal, and these games, same reason. You're going to find a trend here. These games were so important because me and my mom, we would play them and just spend hours playing them and just going through the story. I remember she would get stuck on a boss and I would have to come over and help her with the boss, or vice versa. I'd get stuck on a part and she would have to come over and help me with the part. And I can't remember how many laughs we had, just the plot twist in the game when you find out Captain Quark, what his story is. And it just really, I remember being really sad about that, and she was comforting me, and I can't tell you how many times I would love to just go back to those moments and just no worries in the world, be on the couch, sharing a controller, just playing games. They were a lot of fun. This game, just the different weapons, the bomb glove, the pyromancer gun, the rocket launcher you get in it, and then after you beat the game and collect the gold bolts, you could actually get upgrades to those weapons that some of them turn golden. And gosh, I just remember being lost in the game. And then the second one came out, and the second one was my second Ratchet and Clank going commando out of the first three is my favorite one by far. I really, really enjoyed the second Ratchet and Clank. It was such a phenomenal game. I liked everything about it. My favorite weapon in it was the sniper rifle that you got, and I was a beast with that thing. I would take everybody out with that thing, then run out of ammo, have to run all the way back to get the ammo, and just go through it. And I remember the stage where you're kind of with all the robot civilians. I would go through and just take out all the robot civilians just because, why not? And I remember playing through all three of those games with my mom, and it's just such a... Actually, to be honest with you, I think every single Ratchet and Clank game, except Full Frontal Assault and All for One, me and my mom have played together. And that's a tradition I don't want to lose. I want to keep that going as long as possible. So I'm really excited for the next Ratchet and Clank. Hopefully that comes sooner than later, but I'm willing to wait. And they're just such a big series. And not only for me and my mom, but literally everybody in my family loves the Ratchet and Clank series. My sister, my older sister, she's big into them. She loves them. My little sister, she hasn't dived into them as much. She's played a little bit of them, but she hasn't. But pretty much my mom and my older sister really love the Ratchet. Like, if anytime they come over and we're doing just some kind of game thing, we're just playing games, Ratchet and Clank always gets brought up. And then the next game I'm going to show you gets brought up a lot. So that leads to our next one. And also by Insomniac. And I picked this one specifically because this is the one that I had the most memories of playing as a child. And during that time, my favorite. And that is Spyro Year of the Dragon. I absolutely love the Spyro games. These are some of my favorite collectathon platformer games, especially this one. So it's funny. I always remember Ripto's Rage being my favorite game. And it wasn't until they did the remake of it for the PS4 and Xbox One and Switch, and that I hopped in it, and I just remember, like, as soon as I was playing it, I remember just playing it and, like, going through Ripto's Rage and having a blast and doing 100% playthrough of it, and then getting all the trophies or the achievements on the Xbox. And then I loaded up the third game on that remake, and then all the memories of just laughing with my mom, just going through the levels, the level where you're playing with the twins, and it's kind of like the rocket factory and stuff. I remember how, like, they're doing the backflips off the wall and stuff. I remember just being a kid and jumping as Spyro, thinking I'm doing the backflip and stuff and looking really cool like they are, and just going through it. And I love how each level kind of had its own story to it. You were going through, you could play as Sheila the kangaroo, and just each one felt different, but just so great. And I really hope in the future we get another Spyro that's kind of traditional to this series. I know we have Enter the Dragonfly, and I like that one. It's a great game, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't feel true to the first three. And I don't believe that one, I might be mistaken, but I don't think that one was made by Insomniac. No, it wasn't. I didn't think so. And I would love just to, I know Toys for Bob has it now, and I would love just to see Insomniac get their hands back on it and truly do a, which don't get me wrong, Toys for Bob, or whatever the name of the company is, they did a great job on the remakes. I thought they were fantastic. I remember taking off work for it, and I played it non-stop all weekend long. And I platinumed all 3 games on the PlayStation. I got all the achievements on Xbox for it. I really enjoyed the remakes. So don't get me wrong, they did a great job. But you have Insomniac who makes this phenomenal game. I would love to see them get their hands back on it to do a 4th game, just to see what they do with it. And I would love just to be able to sit down with my family, my older sister, mainly my older sister, my mom, and just us go through the game and just play it and have a good time like we did in the past. One of my favorite things about the game was the skateboarding level. I absolutely love the skateboarding level, and mainly because my sister sucked at it, so I could brag and throw in her face I was a lot better than her at that part. And that made it even better. That little sting was just so perfect. And really enjoyed the Spyro games. This next one is going to throw everybody for a loop. I don't think anybody in my friends group, I don't even think my family would see this one coming, because it's just such an oddball one. But this game has so much, I have so much love for this game. And that is SmackDown vs. Raw 2007. And the reason why I have so much love and respect for this game is because, and I know the other wrestling games have this mode, but I wasn't playing those ones. This is the first one I grabbed, and they're probably better, especially in the newer games, than this one, but was the character creation. I had created a character for all my closest friends, and then I had built this one big story in my head about all these wrestlers, because back in the day I used to be really big into wrestling. I had all these action figures. I still do, actually. And that was kind of like, I didn't watch it on TV as much. I was little. I was more interested in going outside and playing, or playing video games. Still to this day, I'm not a big TV watcher or movie watcher. I've gotten better, but just not as crazy about it. So with this game, I would build this, like, so for example, I would have like a buddy come over from school, and we would play this all weekend. And like the goal of the game was like, all right, we're going to go and we're going to take the belt from Triple H and then go fight John Cena for a ladder match. And I would make this big giant drama series in my head, and me and my buddy would get super into it. And then I brought my third buddy in, and then it was just even crazier, because now we had 3 of us, and we were doing these like Hell in the Cell matches, and just all this crazy stuff. And the amount of moments we had of just being together and just really having a great time with this game is what really sets it apart. It's really like the only... I'm into the UFC games nowadays, but I haven't been into a sports game for a minute. So like they don't grab me like this one did. This is the only sports game per se, I would say, that has really grabbed me and made me want to play it. I beat the story on this game countless times. It's the reason I got into 3 Days Grace. If I'm not mistaken, they're actually what introduced me to Rise Against as well, and I got really big into Rise Against from this game. And just, it was such a well done wrestling game. By far my favorite wrestling game of all time. All right, let's move on to the next one. So this one I'm cheating a little bit. I was going to show 10 games, and there's a little bit more than 10 games in here, but I'm counting this one as one, so it stays true to the 10. And that is the .hack GU series. This by far is so funny story about this game. Real quick, I do want to show this off in case anybody doesn't know. If you get these and you line them up, you can make a little picture right here, and I absolutely love it. This is an important character. He kind of plays like he runs your base in a sense. He's kind of like one of the figures in that. And the first 4 of the game does the same thing. But what is so great about these games? My cousin had it, and he got me hooked on playing that. I believe it was the second one we were playing, which if I had to say anything, the second one was my favorite my favorite one of the 3. I wasn't a big fan of what they did with his outfit in this one. I liked it, don't get me wrong, but I felt like it kind of divvied away from his abilities in the second one a little too much for my taste. But what made this series so important and great to me was when he let me borrow it. He let me borrow all 3 of them. And I went home and I was playing it, and this was like I was at his house on a Saturday, so then Sunday came around, and I believe I was in middle, I was probably like 8th grade, maybe 9th, no, I think it was 8th or 7th grade, and I remember playing it, and I was like, I don't want to go to school, I just don't want to, I want to continue playing this, so I faked sick, and I was able to get out of school for about a week, faking sick, and it was a lot of work. I remember having to I would mainly try to fake sick for a while, get up, play the game for a little bit when I knew my mom wasn't going to be paying attention. And a lot of times she didn't care if I played my games when I was sick, but I couldn't overdo it because then she'd get suspicious. So I made it work all the way up until Friday, and I got caught. And thankfully I got caught after the school bus ran, so I didn't have to worry about going to school, and she wasn't going to take me to school because, let's be honest, it was like 11 o'clock. There was no point for me to go to school. And I remember she yelled at me. She was mad. She was going to ground me. She was going to take away all my game systems. And I was going to be grounded for a while because I had just wasted all my sick time. And I remember my only argument being, Mom, just play the game. Just play it. And you'll understand why I did everything. And she's like, that's not no excuse, John. That's no excuse. So I get her to finally play it. And this is probably Friday around like 6, 7 o'clock at night. Now, granted, once I got caught, I was on the 3rd game, I believe, and I was not able to play anymore. Like, she took it away. So from like 12, I'm going to say 11, 12 to about 6, I had no access to any video games. Finally, she yells at me to bring the game downstairs, and she's going to hear me out, she said. She puts the first game in, and she got hooked. And I mean, I immediately got ungrounded, and we played that game all weekend long. And now, one thing about my mom is when she gets into a game, she has to talk to everybody. Even if they're not important to the story, she has to talk to them to make sure they're not important to the story. So every little person gets talked to, every little nook and cranny gets discovered. Like, she does not miss a beat. She has to. She tries to get one of every item. Like, she is a 100% completionist to the extreme. And she was on the first game. So weekend rolls by. I think we were about maybe halfway all the way through for the first game, and I have to go to school the next day. Mom decides I'm not going to school. She pulls me out of school for the following week, and I missed 2 weeks of school to play .hack GU, and those were some of the greatest times of my life. I remember my mom made a big batch. So one of my favorite things my mom makes is beans. She makes baked beans and fried potatoes, and she does cornbread, and she made a big batch of that, and I remember just eating that all week, playing the game. We didn't explore any other avenue. We just straight hack those 2 weeks, and the love I had for this game. It's one of the very few games that's made me cry. I got the second game, ripped my heart out I'm going to say a little bit halfway maybe into the game. Something happens and it devastated me because it was one of my favorite characters. And it grabbed me emotionally, and I was so invested into this game. And to later find out that Yuri voices Haseo, and if you're not familiar, I might butcher his last name, so please forgive me, but Yuri Lowenthal, I think is how you say it. That could be completely wrong, but he voices Sasuke, the English voice actor for Sasuke Uchiha. He also voices the main character of this series called Haseo, and once I realized that, it just made me love the game even more. And I'm not saying I'm a huge Sasuke fan, but at the end of the day, it was just one of my favorite voice actors. I mean, I loved Haseo, and you can hear it if you go play the game. You'll hear Sasuke's voice. It's almost identical. It's pretty solid. But this is one of my favorite game series. And then after I played this one, I found out there was another 4 that were dated before this game, and they're kind of intertwined. Not in this premise. There's like some Easter eggs in the second series from the first series, and so I had to go on the hunt and try to find those. And I mean, I spent 2 years trying to find them all, and I ended up getting them all. I have the infection, quarantine, mutation, and what's the other one? It's infection, mutation, outbreak, and quarantine. And we would go to GameStops, and my mom would help me. And a funny story, so when I got this game, the cover art was the old GameStop cover art, and the guy had it. They had it at the store. I'm trying to remember what GameStop it was. I want to say it was up in, I can't remember for the life of me, but they had it, and I was like, hey, I already have the game. Can I just have the case, the manual, and the cover art, just so I can get rid of my copy that doesn't? They refused, would not do that to me, give it to me. So I just went and bought it, and then took it back to the GameStop at home and just returned it and just kept the case and stuff and switched them out. I did that with another game. It was Dot Hack Mutation. To be honest, I did the same thing just so I could have the original case and cover art, and it was just so good. But yeah, this is probably one of my favorite game series on the for by far one of my favorite game series on the PS2, but just such a great game in general. If you haven't played it, you don't have to play the first one to get into the second, like the first series to get into the second series. You can just pick up the second series, and the story is going to make sense and everything. They did a collection though for the PlayStation 4. It's just .hack GU last recode, and it has the first 3 games, and then they did kind of like an interlude thing at the very end. So there's 4 chapters, and it's cool. It was fun. I mean, I loved it. I played it all the way through and beat that part, and I liked it. I kind of wish they would have done some things different with it, but I get why they didn't. It made sense. But definitely, I know Quarantine is a little bit pricier than a lot of the other ones. So if you can find it cheap, good luck. But if you do, definitely pick them up. They're solid games, and it is on the Switch. But the last 3 codes on the Switch, but the problem with that one was it was a Bandai store exclusive, so it didn't get released to retailers, so it goes for a little bit more. So easiest way to get your hands on it is just the PS4 copy, and I think you can find that $10 easily. Alrighty guys, on to our next game. This game is phenomenal. This is probably what started my love for Pokemon, and that is Pokemon Diamond. So I played Blue, the Pokemon Blue on the Game Boy, and I was too little to really get into that one too much. I enjoyed it. It was Pokemon. And then I got my hands on Emerald, and I really liked Emerald. So what happened with that, I wanted a Game Boy Advance for my, I think it was either Christmas or my birthday, because my birthday falls close. My birthday's in November, Christmas is in December, of course. And I can't remember which one it was, but I remember wanting a Game Boy Advance, and my mom ended up getting me a PSP. And then I was upset because I can't play Pokemon on a PSP, and everybody at school is playing Pokemon. I have to have Pokemon. And like, I was upset. I mean, don't get me wrong, I was sad, but I was very grateful still. And now, being who I am today, I'm very grateful she got me a PSP, because there's a lot of games on the PSP I love, and I've had my PSP since she got it for me. So I'm very thankful for the PSP, but I just wasn't able to really play. All I wanted was Pokemon, because everybody in school was playing it. It was a big thing, and I wasn't able to play it, and I was upset. Well, I remember she was like, well, here, just play your PSP for the weekend. Monday will come around. And now, yeah, no, I think it was Thanksgiving break, because I was off school for Thanksgiving. So yeah, I'm almost positive it was. She's like, we'll get you a Game Boy Advance, and we'll get you any Pokemon game you want. So we went up to Toys R Us when they were still in business, and I picked out a Pikachu Game Boy Advance, and I got my copy of Pokemon Emerald. And I remember playing Emerald like crazy, but it didn't grab me like I thought it would. Like, it was fun. Like, I got all the Pokemon I could. I leveled them. I thought like the big thing was leveling to level 100, and I did all that. And then fast forward, the new Pokemon games were going to be Diamond and Pearl, and I was going through a really hard time at school. And my grades were really bad. A lot of stuff at my personal life was falling apart. I was dealing with a lot of issues with there. I was having some health issues. I was really worried about my mom. She was having some health complications. And I remember we had a vacation scheduled, and it was kind of like we were going to the beach just to get away from everything. And it was kind of in like the off season, so it wasn't like during a holiday vacation. It was kind of just like we need a break. And I remember it was going to be me, my stepdad, my mom, and my older sister. And I was just sitting there, and I remember not even being excited for the vacation. I was just down. Like, I didn't care about anything. I just wanted to be left alone. I wasn't really playing games at the time. So the day before the vacation, my mom's like, hey, I got something to show you. You can't have it till tomorrow, but I want to get you excited for this. And she pulled out a brand new Nintendo DS. It was the red and black one. It was the DS Lite. And then she pulled out this copy of Pokemon Diamond. And I remember just being over the moon excited about this game. She bought me a car charger. And I was so we got in the car. I was so invested in this game. I didn't start it until we got in the car. And when I got in the car, I put my headphones on. And I played this game non-stop the whole drive to where we went. And then I was down there playing it the whole time. When we were on the beach, I was playing it. Just anytime I could play it, I was playing it. And I can't tell you how much fun I had. The collecting is like, that's when my love of Pokemon really took over. And it was just amazing. I was really just diving into it, and like every time my Pokemon would evolve, I would have to put my headphones on real quick and listen to them evolve. I remember going into the underground and digging for all the gems and like stones, like the water stone, leaf stone, getting fossils and just going crazy. I picked Piplup up as my starter, and then I was just going nuts into the game. And then I found out, once I beat the game, if you got the Game Boy Advance games, you could stick them into the bottom of your DS, and you would be able to access the Safari Zone, kind of, that lets you get access to... Well, no, it wasn't that you access the Safari Zone. You got... certain Pokemon would appear in your game. And I remember going crazy on that. And then that moment forward, my love for Pokemon took over, and I had to have them as they came out. And every year since then, I've bought pretty much every single Pokemon game that's a main series on day of launch, and I buy both of them, so I can trade between myself. I don't have to worry about relying on others. I like the Pokemon to have my original trainer name, and I got really big into shiny hunting, not in Diamond. That's a little bit later down the road. I got big into shiny hunting with Omega Ruby, X, and Y, but I got my first shiny in Diamond. It was a Magikarp. I didn't know what was going on with it. It just showed up yellow. And then I caught it, and I ended up getting a Poochyena the same way, and I didn't realize why it was a different color, but caught them, and I was happy with them. And now I have so many shinies, it's not even funny. I shiny hunt all the time, and I really enjoy it. But if it wasn't for Diamond, I don't think my love for Pokemon would have ever took off like it did. This game, I feel like, is the whole reason I'm in Pokemon as much as I am. And I'm not big into the trading cards. I was when I was little. I have a lot of the older ones, but as I grew up, I didn't keep up with those. So just the games were really where my love is. All right, I got 3 more games, so on to the next one. This one is Digimon World 3. This was one of my favorite games of all time. The reason why this one is so important to me, we had just moved into our new house, which is actually where my game room is. And we had just moved in, and we had maybe been here for a few months. And I was getting my room set up, and I got really sick. And to the point that I had to be quarantined. So they had to put plastic over the door. I believe it was swine flu, and everybody was freaking out about that, and it was just killing. And my mom just had my little sister, so she was real young still, and we were worried about her getting it. And I remember it was crazy. I wasn't allowed to leave the room. My mom would have to shove plates of food under the door. And there's a catch part to this that makes this even better. And it was a mess. And put this game in, and I remember I had a little radio that set beside my bed, and I would use that I would listen to music as I fell asleep. And I remember this was the game. For some odd reason, I was like, you know what, I want to put this in. And I remember playing it before then as a kid and like really loving it and getting into it. And but it wasn't until then where I really dabbed into it, and I went as crazy. And I have tried to get every Digivolution for every Digimon I could. And I remember just being in love with this game, really diving into the trading card system. It was so well done. Getting all the different Digimon starters, Vmon, Gilmon. It was just kind of where my love of the series really took off. Before this, I didn't really play much of the first one and the second one. This was kind of the big one I had. And for the longest time, we didn't get anything Digimon that was a solid game, in my opinion, for a while. We got the ones on DS, like Dawn and Dusk and Digimon World, and those were great games, but they just never really... First off, I couldn't find them. They're still rare to this day, but back when they first released, they were even rare for me. And I only have 2 of them still to this day, and they're both just loose cartridges. I haven't found the original cases for them. And when I got a job with GameStop, I would call all my local stores trying to find them, and I could never even find them. And it was just insane. And I know nowadays I could just hop on eBay and buy them, but I liked going for the hunt of it. So it wasn't until we got Cyber Sleuth for the PS4 that I felt like we truly got another fantastic Digimon game. And yeah, just this game really carried me through that time. So I spent a week deathly sick, and turns out I'm not better. My mom's like, well, we have to take you back to the hospital. The stuff they're giving you is not great. It's not helping. I go back to the hospital. They were treating me wrong the whole time. I didn't have swine flu, thank God. I had something else, and I believe it was I had strep, and it got really out of hand, and they weren't treating that. They were giving me something else. It got worse. So then I was out of school for another week to play more Digimon because of how sick I was. And then they finally gave me the right stuff, and I turned around. I was able to get the plastic off my door, go downstairs, enjoy life, all the fun stuff. But I remember everybody being really scared, and I remember being scared, and I thought, like, I'm not going to say, oh no, I'm going to die, but I remember just the way everybody was acting made it even crazier for me. But I remember this game really, really carried me through it, and I remember just diving into it, and just, my mom took like pieces of paper for me, and she wrote down she put Agumon at the top of it, and then wrote down all the Digivolutions he had, and then what you had, like the stat requirements to be able to Digivolve into it. So I wouldn't have to worry about not knowing, and she had access to the computer, so she just wrote it down for me, brought it to me, slid it under the door, and I just dived into it. And it just was one of the best experiences, besides being sick, but one of the greatest times I had with a game in general. All right, so this one is a little different. I'm showing you the PS5 version. That's not the version that I played. It was the PS4 version, but it's Final Fantasy VII, the remake. And the reason why I'm showing you the PS5 version is because I didn't want to go over and grab the PS4 version. But what was special about this game, I had just went through a breakup, and it was a pretty bad breakup, I'm not gonna lie. I was pretty devastated. A lot happened, a lot was being said, a lot of stuff, and it was just a mess. And then right after that, some stuff happened with my older sister, and it was just like, it was just bad. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was really big into music. That was gone. A lot happened, and it just really devastated me. I felt lost. I felt just gone, and it was not good. And it kind of, I'm trying to think of the right way to say it, kind of broke me as a person. And I was trying to go to work still, and just it was tough there, and it wasn't going well for me. And then this game came out, and my mom was like, hey, why don't you go pick that game up and just come over and let's just play it and just see if we can have a good time. And so, you know what, yeah, screw it, I don't got nothing else going on, I'm out here having fun, so why not? I picked it up, and me and my mom, so the last game we had played together was probably back when I was still middle school. And just to kind of put in perspective, I graduated school in 2014. So this month, actually, I turned 30. So say middle school, 2011, 2012, around that time frame was the last time me and my mom actually had played a game together. This time I've already moved out of my house. Like, so when all this was happening, I was in my own apartment. Like, things were different. So I was alone basically. And when I went over to her house and just played this, we got heavily invested. And I had never played the original Final Fantasy VII. And at that point, I didn't even own it. So this was my first dip into the Final Fantasy VII series. And I just remember we were having the time of our lives playing it. She got super invested in it. I got super invested in it. This game made me go buy the original on PlayStation 1. And we just had so much fun. And I remember in the moments that we were playing this game after work, so I would immediately get off work, come home, play this game with her. And I would go to bed. I had to be up for work at 4 in the morning to be at work at 5. So I would go home, go to work, come back, get off at 1, come to mom's, go home at like 8:30. And it really helped me during that time. I think I would have got into a more darker place if it wasn't for this game. So I was really thankful for that. It came out at the perfect time for me. And I know they changed some stuff, like with some things in it, and I didn't know that at the time I was playing it, so it just felt like such a great, solid game. And I mean, I felt like a perfect person. Like I wasn't alone anymore. Like I was going to be okay, and it just was reassuring to me, and it really helped me through that period. So I'll forever be grateful for this game. So now we're on to the last game. Yeah! And I am super happy about this game. This one, I fully credit for everything to do with my love of gaming. And I still talk about this game to this day. It's still my favorite game of all time. It will probably always be my favorite game of all time. And I cherish this game. And that is Legend of Dragoon. And this is such an important game to me. I love everything about this game. My first time playing through it I was watching my mom, and I have never beaten this game. I refuse to beat this game. I just don't want the magic to end. I don't want to know how it ends. I know how most of the story goes. I've never seen the ending cutscene, but I know pretty much everything else in the game. And I remember being just so invested in this game. And it's like, I would say probably once a year, I'll bring it out and play it, and me and my mom will sit down and just jam it out on it and have a good time. And it's still a big part of her life. She still talks highly about this game. And it's such an important game to her and me. And it was kind of what started us on our journey of gaming together. And I just remember it's the very first game that ever made me cry with Lavitz. That whole scene played out, and I bawled like a baby. I mean, it broke me as a person because that was my favorite character. And it just, what happened, I was not expecting it. I didn't see it coming. And it just, it tore me up. And I remember just being so emotionally invested into the battle system, the story, the characters, and it really just, the soundtrack, oh my gosh, just everything about the game was just beautiful to me, and I loved every single second of it. And the joy me and my mom would get when we would figure something out together, or the joy when we were fighting a boss and we couldn't beat it and we finally beat it, and just the moments we had together playing the game. I can remember multiple times she would make us like some hot chocolate or something, and it'd be like Christmas time, and she has these Christmas lights that she sets out that play songs, and they don't sing or anything, they just do like the music to it, and she would have those laid out, and we'd be playing this game. We'd be on the couch, blankets over us, and just both of us just having a great time. No worries in the world. There was no stress, nothing. And those are memories I will cherish forever. And this game right here is probably, I will forever love and hold this game in such a high regard. It means the world to me. And I really hope one day we get some kind of remake, remaster. I don't care. As long as we get something for it, I will be over the moon happy. Because it's just such a good game. It deserves something. And the battle system is so unique to it, and just the dragoons, the spheres. I plan to one day get a tattoo in honor of this game. I haven't made up my mind what I plan to do for it. I don't know if I want to get the dragoon spheres tattooed on me, or if I want to get one of the sayings tattooed on me. I'm not too sure yet, but it's just such a important part to me and my mom. And I remember my mom being devastated when she found out the truth about Rose, and just, whew, a lot of good memories with this game, a lot of great times. And I don't think there will ever be a moment where I'm not thankful for this game. Well, guys, that is the 10 games that have changed my brain chemistry in some way or another. If you watched this video all the way to the end, I am so grateful for you. Thank you so much for spending the time doing that for me. It means the world to me. If you like what you're seeing, please like it, comment, follow, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Like I said, I just want to engage with you guys, really just talk about video games. If you have some games that really impacted your life in some way, it doesn't matter what kind of game it is. If it's impacted you, let me know in the comments. I still have some games I want to talk about. I could probably do another 10 games and have 10 more that I could go in details with, but these 10 were kind of like some of the most important ones to me. These ones kind of had the biggest impact, so I wanted to definitely do a video about them. But yeah, guys, that's all I gotta say. So I hope you guys have a lovely day. Thank you again, and please subscribe and follow. You guys have a good one. Bye.